Happy New Year, 2018. We're well into here. This is the reading for the Pisces male singles. So I've stripped it right down. We got male and female separated, and now we're separating the singles from the couples. So this is a love, romance, and sex reading for the Pisces male in the single situation. I use it's called the House of Love spread. I basically made the spread up myself. I'll post it at the end so you can see the complete picture. But basically it consists of roof made of cards. So there's three, well, technically 6 cards on the roof. And this is really the relationship that's going to be coming next, or the most prominent relationship that comes next, the one that you may get a lesson or two out of. Those cards explain that. And the house cards, they explain the relationship in full swing. So how you react to each other, what experiences go on while it's in the midst of the whole thing. So I'll start out with the first card from the roof, which is how you meet, how you connect. The first card I get is the 8 of Wands, and in this romance tarot, right, this is typically, I assign this to the one night stand card, but yet there's, you know, around this man's arm, there's a band there. So he can't just walk off and shut the door. So this may be more of a physical thing that reoccurs. Also, taking into account that there may be an imbalance in the relationship at this point or at the beginning, right? There's something out of whack here. But nonetheless, a karmic tie, that's a symbol of a karmic tie, right? So this is someone you got to learn something from, and could result from a one-night stand or a physical union that ends up becoming a little more significant. Now, the next card I get to clarify from the sex tarot is the 3 of Cups. And the 3 of Cups is really about the sensuality of the physical union, right? So we're into that. And we're going a little deeper. You know, it's not just wham bam and I'm gone. It's there are deeper feelings here that exist. So maybe you're in the zone where you're trying to gain physical partners, but this one's just a little different, a little deeper, that kind of thing. So there's something a little more interesting about this one. So the next card I get is the Page of Cups. Now the Page of Cups is all about immaturity within your emotions and dealing with relationships, right? So we've got this guy, he really just doesn't look like he's too bright. And he certainly isn't taking life too seriously. And he has, it looks like he has one full cup there, but one that's like busted apart. Like he was careless, right? And he could have 2 cups, but now he's only got 1. So he's not really taking other people's emotional state into account enough to really solidify. And that's the feeling I get here. He's kind of just going from here to there. He's not really taking anything too seriously. Yet this next relationship is going to be a little bit different. Now, the card I get to clarify, the Page of Cups, is the Magician. So that kind of it kind of denotes a hint of mischievousness and manipulation of the fact that he knows better, but he's not going to do better. He's really going to play with other people's emotions, knowing full well that that's not the right thing to do. Just because he feels like he wants to and he feels like he can, so he will. And so there's a bit of an there's emotional immaturity here, that we have a capacity for better, but we just don't feel like enforcing it at this point. There's no point I'm having fun. I'm light and frivolous. And until his karma starts kicking in, and I feel like this may happen with this relationship, that he takes a little more seriously, is when the karma is going to start to kick in. Because it's only until you start to take life a little bit seriously in the way that you know what you're doing and the effect you're causing upon another. So this is kind of the system that's coming through here. So the next card I get from the romance deck is the Ten of Swords. Now, it's interesting. It's come in here all along. Now, the Ten of Swords here, and I get this sense that he's really leaving this flower for someone that just doesn't, not only will they may not notice it, but they may not appreciate it. So we may have a situation where the tables have turned, where the Pisces man has been kind of getting into relationships that were frivolous and didn't really care, you know, too much for the other person. But the other person might have cared a little more, but still not in a serious manner. Now we may have the tables turned where this man is now starting to show an interest in the woman and starting to kind of want to give a little more than the average relationship in that way up to now. And we might have a disinterest on the other end of things. So this is where karma can come back. Now, to accentuate that, we have the Fool from the Sex Tarot. Now, the Fool, it's interesting, because in the background, there's this couple making out. And I have the high sense, right, because of where we started here, that he was in that position. He had a partner he was making out with. But now he's going on his journey alone. So I think what's going on here is that your next partner may not be a long-term partner, but it's going to be a little deeper than the partners you've had up to now, and a little more on your end, a little more interest than the regular flow of things. So I feel like, again, I feel like maybe it will spur you to think about things in the past that you've done to other people, starting to look at the reaction of the things that you've done. You know, how did I make other people feel? So I'm hoping that this series that's why, you know. So anyway, that's really in the roof here. That's how you guys meet the circumstances. So it's interesting because we kind of go from beginning to end in the meeting. So let's go through the house and see what happens there. The first card I get is the Empress. And the Empress, like if you look in the background there, it's kind of like the symbol of pregnancy, right? And children and lineage. But it's not children, it's puppies and a dog, right? A mother dog and puppies. So it's just that symbol of, you know, family. So it may be that this person has a family, but I'm not getting that. I'm actually getting that maybe this this tryst could turn out to be a family-making venture, meaning you could have maybe more than a one-night stand with someone and more interest in someone, but that person does not have an interest in you to keep you and start a family with. They have no further interest in you in that way. So I think maybe that's where I get a sense here. He has his tools, but he chooses not to use them. And that is his choice, and that is the reason I feel that this woman is really feeling not, he's not taking me seriously, and there's just no verve there for her. So the male nonetheless comes across this Empress, and there's a made family. Now, again, there might be for some people, for these Pisces males, there might be a single mother or a mother that has more than one child that you are going into a relationship with, or one that you create in that way. Okay, so you get pregnant. And to clarify that, I get the Seven of Swords. So the Seven of Swords is really not talking, not communicating, not having sex. We're not. So this Empress, and I feel like there's a definite shift in energy here between when I come into the Empress and the family, and dealing with the family and focusing on that. There's an energy surge here, meaning there's something drastic happening. Now it could be the pregnancy. Whoa, we didn't plan for that. That kind of thing. And then her saying her piece to you. I don't want you as my husband. I don't want you as You're the father, but I don't want you in that way, right? You can be a part of these kids' lives, but I don't I don't want to live with you. I don't want to partner with you. So then that creates because we're not in agreement here. The male's not in agreement, so he's like, oh, what the hell? What am I? Like, I kind of wanted this. I kind of, for the first time in his life, he was kind of preparing or trying to amp up. But at the same time, I get this sense that he just wasn't putting in the effort where it needed to go. So as we continue on, I get the Two of Canes, which is Two of Wands. And then this is a confusing card and go in many different places, but this is kind of like a bromance, right? A best friend that you tell your secrets to, a best friend that is there for you through thick and thin. And so much so that it may even get in between a relationship that you have. Now, the next card I get to that is 15, the Devil. So we got to watch this best buddy here that's in our corner, because he may be giving us advice that is counterproductive to our own success. Meaning, there's a Pisces male here that has a best mate, a man that he tells everything to, that knows all his secrets. Now, this guy is not shooting from your best interest. He's shooting from his own agenda. I'm not sure where that sits, but it is totally not in your own best interest to listen to this guy. He's kind of just yapping and not being really mature about any of it. And a lot of it can be mixed up with jealousy and just attention getting and da-da-da. That's what I'm feeling, is like, there's something warped there from the counsel that you're getting from this best bud. So be careful of that. It's really on the bad side of your success. If you want success in this area, you gotta go with your own gut. Don't listen to the outside sources, especially if it's someone close to you, because there's tainted information there. So the next card I get for the romance deck is the Four of Canes. So not only, and it's right below the Empress, right? So there's a huge feeling that you wanted to walk down the aisle with this one. You really wanted to go all the way. You were starting to roll out the carpet for it. And there just doesn't seem to be an agreement. But this is why. Now, when we go to expand on that in the love area, we get the King of Swords. So we may have a Pisces male here who really wants to be free physically within a relationship. So meaning they still want to be able to go out and taste all the fruit on the tree, and it is not kosher. It doesn't jive with the plan here. So I think that the woman is well aware of that. And just there's some kind of an instinct here that it's just not going to jive. It's not going to work. There's no way that this can get together in the ways of going through your head. Like, there's kind of a dream state here where, yeah, I wouldn't mind marrying this, and I think there's a certain time frame where the Pisces male is entertaining that idea, and then they get real with it. And then the next card is the Eight of Coins. And the Eight of Coins is like that fun-loving, high-spirited energy. So I get the sense that this woman really made them feel happy and free, and like they could do anything and they could conquer anything. They really gave them a lift. And then the next card I get is the Tower. So that is that shock, that surprise, that thing that comes out of the blue and just changes the whole game plan. Now, it could be an unplanned pregnancy. It could be something coming sideways, meaning some other kind of shock. Okay, I'm not even going to go there, but the bottom line here in the card is basically jealousy, right? Coming out of the blue. So we may have a bit of a sense here that, and I'm getting that this woman is very upfront and vocal. And I feel like the Pisces male understands what she's saying, but because she's really putting out a front here, like, I had fun with you, but you're not my number one. And in fact, I'm going to go out and date other people. And, you know, whether we have a child, whatever, we'll deal with that. But, you know, I've got other plans and other people. So I feel like because of the pregnancy, there's a clinging to this woman that, and I don't mean to laugh, but there's a clinging to that energy where you just don't understand completely fully that you're supposed to break from it. You know, even though you've been told by her, and she's been very astute in that and saying, you know, I have no interest. I'm going and dating other people. You know, wherever you sit with this child thing is where you're going to sit, and, you know, kind of like being neutral about everything, but knowing that you're not the direction that they want to go in, which is kind of sad. But it's because, and again, I feel like this is karmically linked and karmically there to show you really kind of the effect that you've had on other people is something you now have to feel within your own relationships. So a bit of a of running into someone that kind of starts to float your boat, and then a big thing like a baby comes in and changes everything. And when we're dealing with the Page of Cups, he's just light and airy. He's got no ties, nothing holding him down until, right? Until that happens, and then it changes the game plan, which it should, which it should. And then at that point, then some stuff has to be taken into account. But yeah, some serious stuff here, some heavy stuff, but all karmic. So it may seem dramatic, and the reason that it seems dramatic is because you haven't really taken in your own responsibility for your actions. So it's coming out in the relationship, right? So in the past, you're kind of being light and airy and not taking people seriously when they may have had more feelings for you and not felt that. So that's coming through. And now you're on the receiving end of it and feeling that. So, and that's going to do a number. And to the degree that you may, you know, you may rethink the way that you deal with relationships in the future. Not meaning abstain from it, but definitely be more cautious and more mindful of how it is that you do react, because you really were clueless before, and not out of not of, you know, like resentment or bitterness, just out of just complete clueless, like being immature emotionally, and that's it. And that's really was the result of that. So some heavy stuff there to work through, but nonetheless karmic. So it's just facts of life, hard knocks, that kind of thing, but something that is meant to go through nonetheless, so that you clear your way and you kind of step up and you advance along the way and you keep going. And that's kind of the way she goes. But to sum it up, you kind of have a physical relationship that grows a little deeper than you may see coming, kind of sweeps you up a little bit, and then you're resistant to grow emotionally through this, and yet you have all the tools to do that. You just choose not to. And then, you know, it kind of coming through and offering more love to this person, you end up kind of walking the road alone, because it seems like she's going to be going in a different direction. Just not enough interest on her end to keep it up. And so again, there may be some babies here that we have to think about, families starting that are already in destroyment. So also beware of the buddy that you have at your disposal here. That's really free with his advice. I would abstain from taking that advice. I would really just sit for a while and contemplate everything and look at angles as well. Why is this guy telling me to do this? You know, because I get a sense too. You might go like, like, why are you telling me to do that? It's kind of weird. But then throwing it off, look at it and look at why. See if you can figure out the motives. May make you examine that to a degree where you understand what's going on from a higher perspective. And then also, the ability that this woman brought out in you to want to marry, right? You wanted to, that was the first time, I think, for the people I'm going to hit here with this reading, first time they've really felt that strongly. So it's kind of jarring for them, like, holy, almost like an ego thing, like, how could they refuse me? I don't get it, but it's just that immaturity of understanding that, there are things here that we have to put forth in order to come into a relationship, and a lot of it is those emotional tools that are just being on lockdown. And I think that you're somewhat unaware that you're playing with the emotions, but they are in that way nonetheless. And then you end up realizing, right? Well, I had so much fun, and what did I have here? But yet the tower sits nonetheless, and then the shock comes. So I don't know if the shock is included in the baby or there's another shock after that. Something else happens that kind of puts you on the way to where you need to be. So it may be an unacceptance of taking the single road here and clinging too much to the point where it destructs the relationship, and there's a little bit of shock because of that. So beware of that. So that's for singles. It gets right into the meat of the relationship. So if you see this coming, you have noticed at this point now to know that it's the emotional tools that are the key to changing this or flipping this around. You need to open up in your emotional center and be more compassionate and more kind and caring. And that'll kind of, get you to a higher level with this relationship. It may not be the be all end all, may not be, but you can go further with it than just kind of wham bam. And it's not wham bam, but we have a process here, but as short term as it does seem energetically. So hopefully that helps, the Pisces single males. So not great news, but there are things here you can change, and that's your ability to go outward emotionally, because that's really the emotional maturity. If you can get on that, then you're good to go. You can start having more mature relationships, and you might even be able to get rid of the tower at the end here. You might even be able to avoid that if you open up and become more mature emotionally. So hopefully that helps. So for the Pisces male, the single male, take care, have fun, and be kind.